Lil Baby just took a shot at NBA YoungBoy on Twitter, and a lot of people think it was more about pushing his new album than real beef. But instead of helping sales, this move might end up backfiring. Everyone has seen him trying to smooth things over with YB lately, but YoungBoy clearly wasn't too interested. Now that the diss is out there, the situation feels a lot more serious. Fans are already digging up old quotes, including when Lil Baby once said, "If somebody died, I'm going to pick a side." That line alone has people worried the tension could spiral fast. What started as online noise is starting to feel like something neither side can easily walk back.
I ain't into like two rappers beefing, like don't mix me with it.
Why?
If somebody died, I'm gonna pick.
That old statement just circled back on Lil Baby in the most awkward way possible. And now the situation is spiraling fast. Baby thought he could move comfortably in the middle rocking with Lil Durk when it made sense, then trying to reconnect with NBA YoungBoy when the landscape shifted. But YoungBoy wasn't buying the switch up. What happened next made Baby look less like a power player and more like someone chasing alignment. Wherever it benefited him most, stick around, because I'm breaking down how the situation really started, why Baby's image is taking hits right now, and how one small social media move turned quiet industry tension into a public mess. To understand this, you have to rewind. Lil Baby and NBA YoungBoy weren't always at odds early on. There was mutual respect, collabs, support, and no visible friction between their camps. Both came up grinding from the South, moving without heavy industry pressure. That balance shifted after the death of King Von in November 2020. What happened that night didn't just affect personal relationships. It reshaped alliances across hip-hop. Von was closely tied to Lil Durk, and the fallout forced artists to reassess where they stood, whether they wanted to or not. From that point on, neutrality became difficult. Tensions that once lived online started carrying real-world weight, and every move was watched closely. Lil Baby made his position clear in 2021 when he teamed up with Lil Durk for Voice of the Heroes. That project wasn't just music, it was a signal. From the visuals to the timing, it showed exactly where Baby chose to stand during one of the most divided moments in the culture.
Yeah, like, and I ain't into like two rappers beefing. Like, I ain't into that. Like, I ain't like don't mix me with it. Like,
Why?
if somebody died, I'm gonna pick a side. For real. If somebody died, I'm gonna pick a side. Other than that, I don't mix me with that shit.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I get it.
The timing of that project was everything, and that's what made it so controversial. Voice of the Heroes dropped while tensions in the industry were still raw, and federal attention around certain circles was already intense. In that climate, every lyric, every visual, every bar was being read not just as music, but as messaging. Listeners immediately noticed how specific the references felt. Durk's verses were packed with lines that fans interpreted as responses to recent events, especially comments tied to interviews and luxury vehicles that had already gone viral. When he rapped about bulletproof rides and shooting at stars, many heard it as more than metaphor. It felt targeted, intentional, and Lil Baby wasn't just standing in the background, he matched that energy. His verses leaned heavily into street imagery, loyalty language, and alignment rhetoric, making it clear, at least symbolically, that his camp was locked in. Whether it was artistic expression or calculated branding, the message landed loud. Baby wasn't neutral. What really raised eyebrows was how collaborative the tone felt. When Meek Mill appeared talking about retaliation and loyalty, it reinforced the perception that this wasn't just an album, it was a cultural statement. To fans, it sounded like the industry drawing lines in the sand after King Von's death, and Baby was standing firmly on one side. NBA YoungBoy noticed. From YB's perspective, it looked like the industry was slowly turning its back on him. Artists who once showed support, now aligning elsewhere. So when Voice of the Heroes dropped with what many heard as pointed shots, he responded the only way he ever has, directly and unapologetically. That response came in the form of "I Hate YoungBoy," a diss record that shook the culture. And this time, Baby wasn't spared. When YB said, "Baby, he with him," it wasn't subtle. It was a public acknowledgement that Baby's alignment had been noted and remembered. YB didn't stop there. He went after Atlanta figures, industry veterans, and former allies, accusing them of switching sides when it mattered most. What made his response hit harder wasn't just the lyrics, it was the follow-through. According to DJ Academics, YoungBoy reportedly turned down collaboration opportunities with Lil Baby after that moment. That move spoke volumes. It showed this wasn't just rap beef for clout. Industry relationships, money, and opportunities were being affected at that point. It became clear this wasn't music drama anymore. It was alignment politics. And once Baby chose a side publicly, whether intentionally or not, there was no walking it back.
YoungBoy told me when Lil Baby hit him up for a feature, bro. And I remember he told me, say, yo, Ack, I'm not doing music right now. And I remember saying, yo, YoungBoy, if you don't can do a song with Lil Baby, nigga, because I gave him a whole list. I remember I sat in the car with him. I told him a whole list of niggas who he should do songs with. And I remember him telling me, he was like, yo, you know I can't do a song with him because, like, yo, so-and-so. He was telling me all type of beef, so I was like, oh, shit, I didn't know the beef was that deep. I'm like, all right, I get it. But I'm telling you the facts.
As the tension dragged on, the industry quietly started choosing sides. Most leaned toward Lil Durk, not necessarily out of loyalty, but because he had deeper connections and looked like the safer, more established bet. NBA YoungBoy never played that game. He ignored industry politics, kept releasing music at an insane pace, grew his fan base independently, and proved over and over that he didn't need validation from gatekeepers to stay relevant. Fast forward to 2024, and the landscape shifted overnight. Lil Durk's legal situation sent shockwaves through the culture. Suddenly, the artist many rappers had aligned with was facing serious federal pressure, and that changed the optics for everyone connected to him. Fans immediately started watching movements more closely, especially Lil Baby's. And that's when people noticed something felt off. In today's era, nothing goes unnoticed. Social media receipts are forever, and the streets watch timelines like surveillance footage. Fans began pointing out that Baby had unfollowed Durk and was now interacting with NBA YoungBoy. As posts liking photos, showing engagement, subtle but loud moves. To the same audience I remembered Voice of the Heroes, it looked like a sudden shift in energy. The optics weren't great. People started saying it looked like Baby was trying to reposition himself. Now that the chessboard had changed, whether that was fair or not, perception became reality. And one thing was clear, NBA YoungBoy noticed. But instead of responding online, YB chose something far more calculated. He pulled up to Atlanta. When NBA YoungBoy performed in Lil Baby's own city, he didn't tiptoe around the moment. He took the stage and performed I Hate YoungBoy Live right in Atlanta, calling out not just Baby, but several major names tied to the opposite side of the industry divide. That alone was disrespectful, but the context made it worse. Before the show, YB received public recognition connected to local officials, which sparked headlines and confusion. The city later clarified its involvement, but by then the message had already landed. The narrative was out there. YoungBoy was being acknowledged in Baby's hometown. Then he stepped on stage and went off. He performed the diss with full energy like it was one of his biggest records. No hesitation, no holding back, and the crowd reacted loudly. Whether people agreed or not, they were engaged, and that's what mattered. From a perception standpoint, it was brutal. Here was Lil Baby, who once publicly aligned himself against YoungBoy, now watching what dominate the moment in his own city. With thousands of fans reacting in real time, no tweets, no sneak disses, just presence, performance, and pressure. At that point, the conversation wasn't even about music anymore. It was about power, positioning, and who really controls the room when industry alliances start falling apart.
What do you mean you don't fucking care? Like, this is a huge situation. That's when I realized, yo, bro, YoungBoy's just on a different type of time.
And the worst part? Baby couldn't even respond publicly to any of it because he was too busy trying to play the reconciliation angle. That didn't sit right with a lot of people. In the streets and online, the word started spreading fast, wishy-washy. Fans began questioning his authenticity. How do you go from aggressive posturing and tough talk to suddenly trying to smooth things over? Just because the landscape shifted to a lot of observers, it looked less like maturity and more like damage control. And once that perception takes hold, it's hard to shake. But the most recent moment is what really made things uncomfortable for Baby. A troll page clearly aligned with NBA YoungBoy as fanbase posted a bait tweet, claiming Lil Baby's album It Has Only Me outsold YoungBoy's recent releases. It was obvious engagement bait, the kind of post any established artist would ignore. But Baby didn't ignore it, he replied, saying he outsold YoungBoy in one day with around 15,000 units. And that response raised eyebrows for multiple reasons. First, those numbers aren't exactly a flex in 2024, especially for an artist of Baby's stature. In today's streaming era, surprise drops and independent releases regularly hit similar or higher figures without heavy promotion. So framing that as a win didn't land the way he probably intended. Second, responding at all was a bigger issue. Top-tier artists don't argue with fan pages. They don't clarify stats to troll accounts. The moment you engage, you signal that the noise is getting to you. And that's exactly how it was read. Third, and this is the part fans really clocked, it showed just how closely Baby was paying attention to YoungBoy's fanbase. When you're confident in your position, you don't feel the need to defend yourself against random social media narratives. Silence usually speaks louder than replies. Instead of shutting the conversation down, the response poured gasoline on it. And in a situation where optics already mattered more than words, that single reply made Baby look less like someone standing firm and more like someone reacting under pressure.
Your favorite rapper? That boy gonna be able to talk whatever the fuck he talking about, cause you know I'm that thing, bitch. I'm gonna leave it at that.
That response also revealed something else people were already suspecting. Baby is feeling the pressure from NBA YoungBoy's momentum. While Baby's recent releases haven't hit the same commercial highs as before, YoungBoy has been filling arenas and building a fan base that operates completely outside radio spins, industry favors, or playlist politics. It's a following that moves on loyalty, not algorithms, and in the streets, that contrast matters. Because what people are calling out isn't just numbers, it's behavior. One moment Baby is cool with YoungBoy, then he's publicly aligned against him with Dirk. And now, with Dirk locked up, he's suddenly trying to reconnect. That doesn't read as loyalty. It reads like survival instinct kicking in after realizing the chessboard changed. The timing makes it worse. Baby is already navigating a tense moment in Atlanta, between the Young Thug Rico case, interrogation footage, and nonstop speculation. The city's hip-hop scene is under a microscope. That case exposed how closely music, politics, and street realities overlap and how quickly artists can get caught in contradictions. Baby's silence around Thug hasn't gone unnoticed. Sure, it's likely legal advice, but when you're positioned as one of the faces of the city, that quiet starts looking less like strategy and more like hesitation, especially when you're vocal online about someone outside your city while staying muted about what is happening at home. So instead of handling things locally, he's online engaging with NBA YoungBoy discourse, replying to trolls, chasing validation, and feeding narratives he should be above. The optics aren't great, and people are definitely paying attention. Meanwhile, YoungBoy is operating in a completely different lane. He's selling high-priced VIP packages, packing venues, and creating demand so strong that established artists are lining up just to be associated with his tours. No industry cosigns, no reconciliation tours, just a fan base that shows up every time. When the industry turned its back on him and chose sides, he didn't fold, he built his own system. And now that the results are undeniable, the same people who distanced themselves are suddenly trying to re-enter the picture. But YoungBoy isn't moving off nostalgia or convenience. He's moving with standards, with memory, with caution. And he has made it clear that fake love doesn't get rewarded just because the wave shifted. So the real question is, where does that leave Lil Baby now?
YoungBoy is not a cloud chaser. He don't just go for who making the hottest music. Who he with, he'll make music with them all day. I've suggested I won't mention names because I ain't trying to do all that. I've mentioned names. He said, Ack, who you want me to collab with? I mentioned names. He said, yo, Ack, I can't do that. I said, why? He said, yo, I'm cool with this nigga and that nigga is beefing with that nigga.
Lil Baby has officially put himself in a bad position and the internet is calling it out. He went from publicly standing against NBA YoungBoy's camp to liking his posts, to responding to his fans online. That kind of whiplash doesn't read as confidence, it reads as uncertainty. And that's the problem, because this isn't how someone moves when they're solid in their stance. It looks like someone scrambling to stay relevant, even if it means contradicting everything they stood on before. The streets notice that kind of inconsistency immediately. People are already saying that when or if Lil Durk comes home, he's going to remember who stayed solid and who didn't, and Baby's name keeps coming up in that. Conversation. You can't publicly align yourself one way, speak aggressively in records, then quietly pivot when the situation shifts. That's not loyalty, that's convenience. And this situation exposes a bigger issue in the music industry. Too many artists lean into street imagery when it benefits their brand, but the moment real consequences show up, they switch narratives fast. 1 minute it's we outside, the next minute it's just music. That contradiction is exactly why fans stop believing what they hear. Baby wanted the edge when it elevated his career, but now that the stakes feel real, he's trying to reframe everything as entertainment. NBA. YoungBoy never did that. When he said he was cutting off fake energy, he meant it. When he said he didn't need the industry, he proved it. And when he said he would remember who stood where, he wasn't bluffing. This situation isn't about violence, it's about credibility. And right now, Baby's reputation is taking the real hit in a culture where authenticity is everything. Switching sides midstream doesn't look strategic, it looks weak. So what do y'all think? Is Lil Baby wrong for trying to reposition himself? Or is this just smart business in a cold industry? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe for more unfiltered breakdowns, and as always, stay solid.